So I really appreciate this when this happens, but several students have asked me to discuss part B in this question. So we're asked to write an equation in the form y equals ab to the x that passes through the points listed in the incomplete table that we're going to look at it right. It says to earn full credit, you must show your algebraic work in the space provided. So if I look at this, I don't know how obvious these numbers were, but it's possible that I could guess the values, right? But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to guess this. I'm going to go ahead and write a system of equations and solve that. Okay, so one of the two equations we could write in that form would be got to grab the right pen here. 357 equals AB to the second power, right? So you can see I'm just reading the y value from this point and the corresponding x value. So I'm going to write a second equation, and it is 32 is equal to AB raised to the 12th power. So what we're looking at here are what are our two parameters, right? What are our 0th term and what's our multiplier? And if we could figure that out, I can write the equation and fill in the table in one step. So a good strategy is I like to get A alone in one of the two equations, and my preference from experience is to get A alone in the one that has the smaller coefficient or smaller power for B. So I'm going to isolate A in this first equation, and I'm going to write that 357 divided by B to the second power is A. So now that I know that this is a valid substitution for A, I'm going to replace A in this second equation with this thing that's equivalent to A. So that's going to become the number 32, and that will equal 357 divided by B squared. So what did I just write? I just wrote A. Check. What else do I have to write? I have to write B to the 12th, so times B to the 12th power. And as I look at this, I can see I've got B to the 12th in the top and B to the second power below, right? So when I simplify that, I'm left with 10 factors of B, right? 12 minus 2, 10 factors of B in the numerator. So this is the same as 32 equals 357 times B to the 10th power. Mr. Roberts, 12 minus 2 is 10. Now that I've got that, right, I need to figure out what B is. I'm going to isolate B to the 10th first by dividing by 357. I have equal things. I'm dividing by equal things, therefore I will get equal things. So this is true. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to raise both sides of this equation to the same power, right? If I have equal things, if two things are equivalent to each other and I raise both to the same power, I'm going to get equivalent things. So the power that I'm going to use is to the 1/10th power. And the reason why I'm selecting to the 1/10th is because it is true that if I have B to the 10th and I raise that to the 1/10th power, that becomes just B, right? B to the 10th to the 1/10th is just B. So I can see right now that I have an expression that is equivalent to B. Let's grab our calculator and evaluate that on the TI. So I can hit, there we go. So on the calculator, I'm just going to go ahead and enter open parentheses. I'm going to go 32 divided by 357, close parentheses, and I'm going to raise that to the power of 1 divided by 10. And actually, I can get away with that because the way the ROM version on this calculator works is it is this fraction, right, 32 over 357, and I'm raising it to the 1/10. That whole thing, that 1/10 is in the exponent there. When I do that, it gives me my multiplier is this. Not the prettiest number in the world. So it says it's 0.7, I'm going to round to 3 places here. I'm going to say 0.786. So B is 0.786. Now, I'm going to need this value of B to figure out what A is. And I'm not going to round, I'm going to round it here as I write down what B is on my paper, but I'm not going to round it on my calculator. I'm going to leave that value of B until I calculate what A is. Now, in order for me to figure out what A is, you can see it above, I'm just going to take this number, 357, and I'm going to divide by this B that I found to the second power. So on my calculator, I'm going to take 357, and I'm going to divide it by B to the second. So I'm going to go up this is B. I'm going to grab it. So now I have B, all the decimals of it. And I can just raise this to the second power. And it's okay because order of operations will totally look at this B to the second. It will evaluate this exponent first. So it's going to take that value B, square it, and then once it knows that result, it's going to take 357 and divide by it. So when I do that, I get that A, right, my 0th term, I get that A is, let's say I went 3 decimal places, I'll go 3 here, so I'm going to say 578.325. 0.325. Now, just because I want to see, well, first of all, you guys are watching this, and if I'm wrong, it's really embarrassing. So if I'm wrong, I want to be the one that catches it. So I'm going to check this answer. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to essentially take this number at 2, and I'm going to place it into this equation. Let me write the final equation, right? It's y equals 578.325, and then I'm going to multiply that by 0.786 raised to the x power. So I'm going to take the value of 2 and place it in here and see that I get something that looks like 357. And when I put in 12, I should get something very, very close to the number 32. So let's go ahead and, I'm not going to clear this because I want to go grab these values. I'm just going to go get, here's my A, got A, times B, go get B. Here's B, got it. And I'm going to take that to the second power. And this should give me about 357. And because I had all the decimals in my screen here, you can see, yeah, I got 357. I'm going to try the same thing with 12, so I'm going to go grab A. There's A. Nope, that's not A. This is A. Oh, you know what I can do? I can actually grab this, and instead of taking it to the second power, I can come up here and edit this. I'll just take the same thing and raise that to the 12th power. And when I do that, I get the number 32. You know what that means? Because when I plugged in 2, I got 357. And when I plugged in 12, I got 32. That means this is a correct answer, right? So again, I rounded when I wrote down the numbers to the nearest hundredth, tenth, to the nearest thousands, tenths, hundreds, thousands. I rounded to 3 decimal places, but on the calculator, I kept all those decimals until the very end. So anyways, I just wanted to record this because this is a question several of you have asked me about. So I want to make sure you could see that. So that is it for this. Oh, look at the problem below there. It says, hey, what's f of 2 plus g of 2? Well, I know what g of 2 is. G of 2 is the number 357, so this is 357. And f of 2 is from the previous problem, right? If you put 2 into that, it gives you a value too. So anyways, I'll see you in class tomorrow. Goodbye.